What's poppin', everybody? Welcome to another episode of The Measy Show. I'm your hostess with the mostest. Now, before we begin, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me. I appreciate you. Now, you seen the title, you seen the thumbnail. This video right here is about D.L. Hughley, okay? A.K.A. Daryl Lynn Hughley. So, for those that don't know who this is, he started as an early comedian. He has a hell of a story. His story is not it's not usual. I would say that, right? Yeah. Anyway, he was born in as Daryl Hughley, aka D.L. Hughley. He was born in Portsmouth, Virginia, to parents Audrey and Charles Hughley on March 6, 1963. Okay, so that makes him what? 60 years old right there. I had to do the math real quick. Yeah, that makes him 60 years old right there. So anyway, he's originally, like I said, from Virginia. He moved to L.A. He landed on the other side of, I want to say he said Avalon or something. I'm not from Los Angeles, but it's a few blocks over, I guess. According to what he said, you could throw a rock and hit Compton. So he joined the 135 Pirus or 135 Piru gang. For those that don't know, obviously by the name, it's a Piru gang. They fall up under that blood umbrella or whatever. Yeah, he joined that. He got involved in some drama here and there, you know, like little fights, little stuff like that. He got kicked out of 3 schools, one of them being Gardena High School. He named a couple other ones in the interview, but I was writing down a lot of stuff. Anyway, yeah, he got expelled from 3 schools, fighting, gangbanging, all that stuff. His cousin got killed, right? So his cousin, now he said this, I never heard of this street, but maybe, I don't know, I'm not from LA, like I said. He said his cousin was from 59 Hoover and ended up getting killed by some Bloods, right? So he wasn't actually allowed to even go to the funeral because where they resided, he was a Blood, so they didn't let it go down. So his cousin died. That changed his outlook on life, right? A lot of times people will lose family members to the streets, friends, family members, whatever, fathers, whatever, to the streets, and it'll turn them colder. It'll turn them, they just develop a hate. Bismillah. They'll develop a hate, or whatever for that. That's when he just kind of see, you know what, man? I'm cool. This really ain't for me, right? And I guess right around that time is when he stopped basically pushing for his gang. You know what I'm saying? Like, he might, you know, I'm sure he does have love for the people who came up around. But as far as actually pushing for that organization, he was like, nah, I'm good. It's not going nowhere, whatever. So this is where the twist comes. He later tried to be a police officer. Now, there's not a lot of, what you call it? There's not a lot of stuff about this online, but you can find it, though. He later tried to be a police officer, which was a little unusual. Usually someone doesn't transition from gang member to police officer, right? But he's like, man, this ain't for me. For whatever reason, he says it's not for him, right? He kind of like toyed around with a couple little jobs here and there. I think he worked at the LA Times or something like that, one of them newspaper stations, newspaper companies, and then he had a few little odd jobs or whatever. But then he ended up getting into comedy, right? So he started doing stand-up. He opens up the door for more opportunities to arise. He then showed up on Comic View. This is where the big break started happening, right? This Comic View, now things change, right? So that opened up the door for the 1992 that opened up the door for the 1992 feature of Fresh Prince, right? He featured on Fresh Prince. That's a show in the 90s, for those that are born in the 80s or whatever time you might know, and maybe even young kids know if they know about old school stuff. He featured on Sister. That was a show about Tia and Tamara, the twins, with Roger and all that, right? And then a show called Double Rush. I personally haven't heard of that, but then he got his own show for a season. I don't think it didn't really last that long for whatever reason, but I mean, hey, he got it. You feel me? So he was on the original Kings of Comedy tour with Steve Harvey, Bernie Mac, and Cedric the Entertainer, as well as himself. That's kind of where that's where I kind of zoomed in on him. Like, oh, okay, let me see what he's talking about. Like, because now you rubbing shoulders with some of the funniest people. Cedric, he's real funny, right? Bernie Mac is hilarious, right? Steve Harvey's funny. Well, he was back then. I don't know about now. I mean, I'm not saying he's not funny. I haven't really tuned into him in quite some time. But yeah, you know, now he's rubbing shoulders with some real certified comedians, some real stars. Now people tune into him. So he keeps on with his little comedy thing, and then he started getting a little bit more political, right? Now this guy, man, he had a lot of twists and turns in his journey, right? So now at this point he's been on over 20 movies and shows. That's quite a bit, right? Yeah, so then he started getting a little bit more political. He started being more vocal with his political views, going on CNN, talking about police brutality, talking about politics, talking about presidential races. Now he's showing like, look, I'm not just a comedian. Like, I have valid opinions, and this is why. You get what I'm saying? At this point, he wrote several books and often speaks on injustices going on throughout the world. So, man, that's the D.L. Hughley story, man. I mean, there's probably a whole bunch more, but that's just a real quick summarized version of that. You know, he's had a lot of twists and turns in his journey, and you know, at this point, he's 60 years old. He's an OG, and you know, I salute to him. He's been taking care of his family the whole time. He got kids. He got, you know, so yeah, man. Salute to D.L. Hughley, man. Let me know what you think about it in the video. Hit that thumbs up for me, man. Salute. Y'all have a good one. I'm out.